Hi everyone, Comic Viewer here, this time doing another episode of Back to the Pilot, and this time doing on OK K.O. Let's Be Heroes. Now, as you know, eventually from 2017 all the way to 2019, OK K.O. started with 3 seasons. To me personally, I felt the first season was good. I felt the second season's final ruined some things with Foxtail's redemption, which felt a bit enforced, and the third season being wasted potential. Then, eventually, in 2013, there was a pilot written by Ian Jones Quarry, who's also married to Rebecca Sugar, who also worked on Steven Universe. Now, pretty much with Lakewood Plaza Turbo, the pilot is meant to feature a totally different theme. Now, indifferent with the animation style is some character designs look different, like KO being a little bigger, Enid having more of a sash, and was voiced also by Mina Solveri, who was also known for doing voice work in Final Fantasy Advent Children, and also playing in films like Kiss the Girl, American Pie 2, and also playing in Justice League Action as the voice for Killer Frost. And eventually Ashley Butch would take over as the role, and I think Ashley Butch was a bit of a finer voice because I've seen her voice in so many stuff. And the premise of the pilot is basically simple. Basically, it's like the standard episodes from the TV show, but the only difference is that a graffiti artist defaces the Lakewood Plaza Turbo sign, and this leads to K.O. trying to figure out who's really done it. And there is a lot of differences with the pilot that differ from the actual TV show. For example, Boxman implying to be more different, being a bit more serious, and away from the TV show, where he was meant to be a sad, miserable man. And it's even implied by the pilot version of Mystic R that the reason why Boxmore attacks the plaza is to sabotage their business, while in the actual TV show, it's implied that Boxman only attacks the plaza because he thinks the villains will respect and approve of him, as he's seen more as a joke. And also in the pilot as well, when a character does get into a battle, they call it a power battle, which is implied to be something similar to a Shaolin Showdown from Shaolin Showdown or a duel from Yu-Gi-Oh! And was actually interesting in the piloted version, in the opening, when you're introduced to Boxmall, you kind of see Raymond, Nevesto, and Michaela and that in totally different designs. And the only real Boxman robot that seems to show up in a perfectly same design is actually Daryl, which I guess they just kept designs. And I think another personal thing I found a bit uneasy is how the characters have those sausage-like noses. And I know in the 43rd episode, Let's Watch the Pilot, we see how an alternative version of Dynamite Walkins talks to Enid, Rad, and KO about the pilot, Lakewood Plaza Turbo. And it kind of explains what happens to the noses, and we kind of see how the characters were more embarrassed by their early designs. And I think what's also interesting about the pilot is in the opening, it's more of a kind of action-packed, fist-fighting, 90s kind of cliche opening. I think when they had the opening for the final version, it really gives this techno-y beat and introduces you to the side of Lakewood Plaza Turbo and the side of Boxmore. So I think they did at least try to give you what they wanted. And it's kind of implied that in the piloted version that KO is mainly starting his first day at work and is implied to be more of a summer job. And what's actually interesting is Stephanie Naduni is also the original voice of Kayla for OK K.O in the pilot. And in the piloted version, does kind of still sound like the Goku we expected from the pilot. So it's interesting how eventually Courtney Taylor would take over as the permanent role. And I think Courtney Taylor was a bit of a better choice because Stephanie will always sound a bit like Goku by the end of it. And I think what's also interesting about the OK K.O pilot, there was a game for it. And what's interesting is other robots we never saw from the TV show did show up in the app game. And I also think what's interesting is that the animation feels more similar to a Korean TV show. And I think by the end of it, the OK K.O pilot is basic. It has KO basically trying to find out who graffitied Mr. God's sign, and it kind of comes off more like the standard episodes from season 1. I feel this one is basic, so it deserves thumbs in the middle. It's not great, not good, but it's like that standard pilot. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.